Thank you, thank you. Welcome back into the casting desk. We're getting ready for our second game between the Cal Bears and between Bethany Esports. And that game one definitely delivered for me. I wanted excitement. I wanted something close. I didn't want just smashes anymore. I want games that are neck and neck. You don't know who's going to be able to win until it finally ends.
I'm down for neck and neck fights. I gotta correct Cubby real quick, because even though Bethany didn't end the game as fast, I want to see clean gameplay. If they play a 40-minute comp, then I want to see them get to 40 minutes in a clean way. I want to clarify that real quick, Mr. Matt Cubby Samuelson. But you're right, Alex. This is one of the closer games that we had so far all day. And if I'm looking at the Cal Bears, they could definitely look to take this game too, as long as they got their head in the game. That's all they need, because all they need to do is just shore up these little mistakes that they did, and they could push them to game 3, man.
They could, and I want to see that. I want a game 3. I don't want any more 2-0s. I want game 3, baby. That's what I'm here for.
I'm just here for good, clean League of Legends. If Bethany wins, that's a good thing. If Bethany loses, well, I might just add them all in my own little Discord and be like, what the heck happened, guys?
Well, that's going to be on you. That's going to be you later. It's going to be on me. Right now, we're getting into the draft. Right. We're seeing pretty much the same thing coming in from Bethany. Morgana, probably going to see that Rumble, and Diana banned away from them. Seems that they don't really feel as confident on those AP junglers right now, nor do they want to see if Rex is capable of playing those either.
Yeah, that's one thing I am wondering about. You know, I know Dylan spoke a little bit about it on the desk where, you know, Bethany Esports, they banned Rumble, they banned Diana, they banned Morgana, probably going to do the same 3 bans again, man. And it's all because Hunter probably just doesn't have experience playing those champions, even though they're really dang good, and they allow the fluidity of the draft to actually open themselves up, knowing that these 2 champions can be flexed in multiple roles. Regardless, though, Bethany, as long as they stick to their guns, they stick to the same game plan, that's all that matters at the end of the day, guys. It doesn't matter if you're playing meta or not, because if you can play your style and you beat the meta, then you're good, because it's collegiate.
Well, right now, we do see that Tristana has been banned away by the Cal Bears, as opposed to going for that Olaf like they did last time. I'm wondering if it's going to be Thresh for Olaf, or if they're just going to let both through and try to see if they can grab one of them for themselves, if they're confident enough to play either of those champions. That's really going to be the name of the game, because last time around, we saw it was the jungle pool that had been held on for a long time, but instead, they banned Gwen, leaving both of the options that I just said open.
Okay. That means the Thresh is on the table for Hollywood. He's been playing this champion nonstop since he got swapped to support. If I'm Bethany, I don't mind picking that one up for themselves, but the Gwen ban is surprising, Alex. I'm definitely wondering what sparks this Gwen being banned in the first rotation. Thresh, though, pretty simple. I've seen Bethany first pick this champion so much for Hollywood, and along with that, it wins against Rel, it wins against Alistar, it wins against Leon, it wins against a lot of these engaged supports that we see on the bottom side all the time. That's where, if I'm Cal Bears, do you want to throw a mage in the bottom side? Do you want to throw something else that wins against it? Do you want to see a Blitzcrank? Or do you want to pick up another hook like Nautilus for themselves? And with that hover being in another 2 seconds, that should be it.
Could be it. We did see that earlier today, which the Thresh first locked in and Nautilus answered into it. So not too surprising to see that coming in from the Cal Bears. But I want to see if we're going to see that jungle focus or not for either of these teams, or if they're going to ignore that until the second rotation like last time. That's really going to be what changes things, in my opinion. Not necessarily the support picks, but how Hunter and Rex decide they want to draft for themselves.
Yeah, my thing is wondering if Bethany wants to pick jungle early on for Hunter or save it all the way to the later rotation here for themselves. But with bottom lane being shown up, that means that Wizards can kind of get his free pick of what he wants on the bottom side, and also, of course, establish the composition that they have. Because we look at Cal Bears on the right side of the screen, you got Nautilus, you got Kaisa. What does that speak? We dive in, we go and swim in, Alex. Whereas we look at Bethany, this is where you can lean towards going in or going out. They can be leaning in. Wall to wall, Samir being picked up for Wizards, and the only Samir we see in competitive play right now, Alex, is the AD carry from EG Prodigy Shiro, putting games on that champion. So now I'm excited to see what Bethany wants to go for, because they're 100% down to clown with them meeting fist with fists.
That is going to be a lot of fun to watch. We already have seen bot lane action before. Last series, we saw how much that if you have something volatile in a lane that they're going to try to see if they can slug it out with Samira Thresh versus Kaisa Nautilus, that is definitely going to be the case, especially with Ben locked in for that top side. That's where we'd expect to see it. It could be the River Shen that is always an option, but I highly doubt it. It is more than likely going to be Solura in that top lane locking that in for themselves.
Yeah, I have seen Hunter play Shen in the jungle, but the thing is that Shen right now isn't too good. Because, you know, you lose to a lot. You still lose to Hecarim and Udyr in the jungle. You still lose to a lot of these other full clearing champions like Lilia. Set being picked up is surprising. We did see this a little bit earlier on in the tournament, and it can work well into the Shen on the top side, knowing that you got a big old haymaker that gives you a gigantic shield. But this is where I gotta wonder, man, what other junglers does Cal Bears want to ban out? Because Bethany, they're gonna have to pick their jungler eventually, because we see them, they've been saving it all day for the later stages. Kind of curious, Kindred being one of them.
Kindred and Italy on the other side,
Sheesh,
too.
man.
Taking that away immediately. Not even letting that be an option. Well, we saw this last time. We saw 4 jungle bans coming in from Bethany. Really trying to hit at the pool of Rex. Making sure that no matter what happens, that you're not going to have an easy time in that jungle, especially this time. Last time, Lee Sin was locked in. It could have been Flex top lane, but ended up getting Flex mid lane. This time around, that is more jungle bans coming in. Cal Bears taking away Graves themselves. And I'm wondering if Bethany are going to go for the 5-fer here. If they're going to try to see if they can ban a 5th, well, technically that'd be 7th jungler at this point.
At this point, Alex, just ban Lilia. That's all 5 AP junglers already off the table, except for Elise, you know?
Well, to Lilia, too.
There it is, look at that!
There it is.
5 meta AP junglers. We sometimes see Elise every once in a while, but that's all the AP junglers off the table. Because Cal Bears, they need, if I'm looking at them, you know, having some magic damage is going to help out when it comes to the damage profile, and along with that, figuring out what you want in the mid lane and the solo lane. So, that's what I'm wondering about. Olaf going to get picked up.
Could be a good takeaway. So technically, I guess you can say that is, what, it's 8 jungle bans towards Hunter in this game, because they banned 5. There's 2 on their side. Then there's the takeaway of Olaf. And Hunter, good default back to that Nunu.
No, it's not a matchup.
I know it's a terrible matchup, especially against Olaf, but we'll see what Hunter wants to lock in, because that is going to be the name of the game here. How are you going to be able to play against this Olaf, and what do you want to take into that? Kayn is going to be the option.
Okay, all right. Hunter picking the Kayn for themselves in this game. Of course, he's going to be going red Kayn. No assassination here today, as we've seen so far in Academy and every other broadcast, that blue Kayn can be picked when playing against multiple squishy members on the opposite side. But this is where we're going to see Rost come back in. Alex, we haven't seen a Rost Kayn in actually in a hot minute.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. But this time, though, we do see the Orianna being picked up for Freeze in the mid lane, just to be a solid control mage. But Bethany, they do have a pretty volatile composition overall. It does depend a little bit on early snowballing when it comes to the bottom side, but it is somewhat well-rounded too. But they just need gold. That's the only thing about Bethany's composition, is that they need a little bit of a gold cushion for them to be okay.
And that is something that the Cal Bears had played in Game 1 themselves. So a composition that needed to be able to get a little bit more gold for themselves. But this time, they're the ones that have the full aggressive style. They've got an Olaf. They've got a Set. They got Nautilus to be able to back it up with a Galio that can always follow them up wherever they need be.
And along with that, Cal Bears picking a composition that is 100% we all diving in no matter what. And then we take a look at Bethany. Can you peel them divers away? It's going to be a little bit tough, man. It's dependent on Hunter getting Ross to actually disrupt all this dive coming in. And it's also dependent on who is going to be tackled first. Is it going to be Wizards or is it going to be Freeze? Because if one of those two gets deleted right off the bat, it's going to be very hard for Bethany to actually fight these team fights later on post 20 minutes, you know?
Exactly. It's not necessarily the easiest thing for them to be able to get through. Their damage is really going to be reliant on Wizardish in those late game fights. And sure, you can make an argument that Orianna is going to be able to have some damage, but this is a beefy composition that the Cal Bears have drafted for themselves. The only one that is really going to be arguably squishy is going to be Cutie.
It is, and even then, though, Cutie's going to be there, sitting there slugging it out with the rest of the boys who are melee, man. And that's why I'm worried about Wizardish right now, because you look at all the champions they have, 3 out of the 5 champions can just stop that ultimate like that. You know, Set has the E, Set has ultimate, Olaf can probably just fight through and burst him down, Galio has Justice Punch and the taunt for themselves. Like, It's very curious to see Bethany go for this kind of style because you need that time to kind of build up. Whereas Cal Bears are a team that wants to snowball early because of that Olaf. You know, Bethany, they want to get a gold cushion, but they don't want to fight. That's a really weird dynamic when we look at Bethany. You know?
Will, isn't that what Bethany tend to do best? Is they love these early fights. They like to be the ones in the middle of it all, but they have a competition that can't do that.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering, because whenever I talk to teams and when they play with Kayn, it's a very different kind of game when playing with this kind of jungler, because Kayn, he's a champion that just wants to get marks, man. Just wants to pick up that passive and then gets his transformation as soon as possible. Whereas other junglers, they want to get kills, they want to get flash, they want to get something else. And understanding that dynamic is a very tough game to kind of touch and go with. So, but as long as Bethany can nickel and dime with the Kayn, then they should be okay.
I always love copy pastas. I just see on my other monitor that we're getting a bunch of copy pastas put into our stream chat that we have for talent. But, you know, going back into the topic at hand here. So, Cal Bears, I feel like it's always funny. You and I always agree which composition we tend to like more, and we're favoring that of the Bears here. But Bethany, I'm not going to take away the fact that they don't have elements that can work really well. Having both Thresh and Shen to be good frontline tools with a shockwave, it's the ball delivery system that they have for either Thresh or Shen, right? And then you have Kayn that can disrupt the backline. Same with the Samira that could always be something that is a surprise tool that you can use later where you're diving into the backline as opposed to being the traditional marksman similar to how Kai'Sa is.
Something important to note, too, is that for Cal Bears, if you want to get that early game going on, is just invade level 1. You got a great level 1 already built in your comp, man. And I want to see Cal Bears actually push it today in this game, too. I think the entire broadcast so far, Alex, I think the only level 1s we've seen is probably just yesterday off of Harrisburg in their little level 1. But for the games today, I haven't seen any crazy level 1s.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
There's a chance, man. There's a chance. All right, it's like the lottery. All right. You know,
I want
your
my
numbers.
level 1 fight. I want
Pick your numbers. Guess what it is.
Give me my level 1 fight.
All right. Twitch chat, for everyone else watching, are we gonna get a level 1 fight start off from the Cal Bears?
I don't care who starts it off. I just want a level 1 fight.
You just want a level 1 fight?
Bears, whatever.
Okay. Let's see if the Golden Bears can actually do it, Alex. I'm wondering if they are gonna do that too. Again, they definitely have a composition to do so. Undertow hurts a lot. Taunt hurts a lot. Hook hurts a lot. Like you can blow a lot of flashes.
Flash face breaker too from set. There are a lot of elements that could work out well for this. I believe in both teams.
I also believe in both teams. Well, I believe in both teams. I just believe in one team just like 1% better. You know. Not biased though. You know. Just.
No, what team is that? That's the question.
Well, we'll see what happens, man. It's definitely not something. We'll see what happens.
That's a non-answer. That is a cop out if I've ever heard one.
You already know, man. I'm rocking their gear, dog. What you mean?
So Berkeley.
Bethany.
That doesn't sound like what I said. That sounds different from what I said. You know what? But we're going to have to continue to talk about this. We got a little bit of time before we've loaded up onto the Rift for our second game. And I'm hoping, regardless, that we have a close game. You know, I want to see the Cal Bears be able to bring this back. I want a game 3 because this goes back to the LPL too. It's like, I hate 2-0s. I want to have full series. I want close games. I don't care who wins at the end of the day, so long as it's good League of Legends and I get to yell my brains out.
I mean, I don't want you to yell your brains out, Alex. I need you to stay alive for the rest if it goes to a game 3, man. I don't want you dying on me as of yet. You still got a lot more gigs to come up.
It's the third game that I do that.
Okay, got it. You want to get to that point where you do yell your brains out.
Yeah.
Got it. So when you yell your brains out, does brain matter actually come flying out when you're streaming, or what's the plan?
I haven't done that yet.
Okay, all right. Maybe this is gonna be the first time for everyone.
That'd be weird. That'd be really weird. But you know what? That's something. Hopefully, we don't have to find out because
hopefully,
because we're watching the games and that's off camera, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But in this game, so we look at the lanes. We go lane to lane. You know, Set Shen, we expect Set to be able to win just because how Set does into tanks. Olaf Kayn is the one that I'm kind of keeping my eyes out because we always talk about Kayn as being like this non-champion until he does get that evolve, until he does get the points built up, and then he feels a lot more like he can actually do stuff on his own as opposed to relying on his team. Well, Olaf is a great skirmisher early.
Yeah. And that's always something that I wonder how Kayn's play around because you kind of just have to maneuver around the Olaf. You never want to fight Olaf in the jungle because Undertow is just going to slow you the heck down, even when you're going through walls too. So if I'm Hunter and if I'm wondering about the way he wants to play, it's just making sure he just gets some of these marks here and there, going for some of these ganks. Even, show up on the top side. It doesn't really matter if you blow flash, but because that's a melee champion, you're able to just kind of do that yourself. As long as you're having a vision of this Olaf, then it's going to be a good thing. The thing when we look at both these champions, they clear relatively fast, Alex. They're pretty healthy in their clear too. The only difference is that because Olaf wants to get gold early on, he opts in for ganks over full clearing. Whereas Kayn almost does the same thing. It's just that he doesn't fully commit to those ganks. Remember, he just gets those ganks for those stacks on his passive. But it's all dependent on who can get that gold. And remember, for Bethany, it's all that gold cushion. You don't need to get kills, but you just need to get that small little gold cushion for yourself. And if you're able to hold on to that, you should be able to take that game.
Well, this kind of brings me to the last point before we hop into the game, is the bot lane. We kind of alluded to it, but this is where I expect to see the most action early on.
Yeah, it is mad volatile. I'll tell you that much. Whoever lands that hook first can change a lot. And another thing is that when it comes to single target damage, Kai'Sa does it a little bit better compared to Samira. Samira, of course, does good when it comes to just fighting and denying some of that damage, but it's all dependent on who can get that hook first, who can get the CC locked down, and from there, who's just relatively, whoever has more HP at the start of it, because we know that Nautilus is a tankier or Thresh at the end of the day, Alex. So if they start off right off the bat, it's going to be in favor for Nautilus, but if they whittle down that Nautilus, if they whittle down that Kai'Sa, it will be better for Bethany.
Well, that it will be as we load up on to the Rift for game number 2 between Bethany and Cal Bears. Not seeing anything too fanciful this time around. We're just going to get the typical line of scrimmage. Boo, boo, boo. I had to get my boos in really quick because we all know I like my level 1 fights and skirmishes, but it looks like both teams are playing this one wisely and not actually trying to see if they can have the cool, stylish plays early on.
I want to see a level 1 from the Cal Bears, I think it would have been better. Yeah. I think they have the chance to do this, man, even if it's a late invade. You just walk in, take Hunter's Raptors.
That is true. They could still do that.
Yeah, they can, but then they're not looking like it's set up for it. Because Hunter, if he just walks up just a little bit, he'll see Rex. But, I think tackling Raptors is such a good thing if I'm the Cal Bears.
Would you want to tackle a Raptor, though?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
You see Jurassic Park?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're clever girls, I would not want to. I would not want to have to deal with one of them.
Well, I think these Raptors aren't as close as Velociraptors, but you do want some chicken nuggets for yourself. It's always a good thing. Actually look at what Freeze is doing against Rex. I think he just may have poked him out just a little bit, but for sure spotted him out on the Raptors. Yeah.
And Weatherman has been spotted out there, trying to see if they can get that level 2. That's the whole identity of a Kai'Sa Nautilus lane that we used to see so much before. Was trying to be able to get that level 2 experience lead so they can go for the all-in, so they can find the pick on someone like Wizardish or even Hollywood before he's able to really react in time.
I like how both these generals aren't doing standard clears, though, Alex. You look at Hunter, he's actually doing blue and Gromp at the same time, whereas Rex does Raptors into Krugs and then going to be full clearing to the bottom side. So both of them trying to see if they can change up the chess game instead of doing a standard clear, or in fact maybe doing a standard Raptor clear too. So both trying to see if they can change up the way this level 1 comes out.
Well, right now we do have that experience lead that I was talking about in the bot lane coming in from Cutie and Weatherman. Going to be able to push in Hollywood and push in Wizardish, but they're not really going to be punished. They were smart about that, realizing that was going to be the nature of the beast, backing out of that one beforehand, before any dredge lines got tossed out and connected, because if one lands onto Wizardish, that is either a death or every summoner blown.
Right now, though, Alex, I do want to point out the Hunter is a camp ahead when it comes to the speed of his clear, because he did 2 camps at the same time compared to Rex. So really good stuff from Hunter, understanding the way he wants to clear.
Hey, nice play on the Cutie, but they're going to be able to get a little bit of damage back onto Hollywood, too. Yeah. So it was a trade of damage for damage. This could be enough for Hunter to be able to get into the spot lane.
Here.
But look at that. Rex is here, too.
Okay,
Flash getting the damage onto Cutie with the TP. The flash coming in from Cutie. They get the first blood. And with the TP here from Unstoppable, looking to get the kill onto Hunter with a huge bunch of damage. Weatherman still alive. Finally dies, so the double kill coming in from Hunter. The flash coming in from Unstoppable. Looking looking to be able to get the kill they needed to on Decay. But more
TPs!
Here's Eugene, the Guardian to try to see if they get
Freeze
the
here!
They got a double kill coming in from Rex. Justice Punch up. Rex now trying to be able to get away from Wizardish, but that is a lot of damage coming in. Even with the undertow, it's a triple kill for Bethany.
You know what, Alex? If we're gonna have a deja vu, we might as well do it in this game. All right, we're all instead of fighting at the bottom scout, we're gonna fight for bottom lane. Everyone teleporting in this, but this is where we take a look at that kill score, and the two people who need them kills are the ones who got it. Hunter and Wizardish got those kills, man. Wizardish got a triple, and Hunter got a double. And all is because Hunter got here first before Rex, because Rex was still clearing his camps.
What the hell?
Speed matters a lot when it comes to. You see both of them teleport right in each other's faces, man. It's like, yo, you could stop each other's. You could stop each other. You could do these things, but no. If we're gonna have a party, let's have a day party. 8 kills already. 4 minutes in, Alex. You down for that? Because I'm down for that.
I'm dying. I'm dying. Right next to each other.
That's a handshake if I see one. It's like, yo, you gonna be there? Yo,
party
Alex,
bot lane.
Yo. Hey, Alex, I'll meet you down there, dog. I'll meet you down there. That's what Eugenium was saying to Freeze right there.
There's no gonna play. I can't breathe.
That's when you're a true homie. When you're like, hey, let's both teleport down there.
All right.
Okay.
All
right.
right. Getting back into this game. So yeah, everything was blown by both teams. Trying to get that a technical ace for Bethany. Oh god, Wizardish is 3-0-2.
That's what I'm saying, dog.
5 minutes into the game.
He got a triple.
How many points did Hunter get in that too to be able to get
lot,
towards that
man.
evolve? Exactly.
Yeah.
He survived for so long. That means that this is just wild. And now they're trying to see if they can start up a dragon. Coming in from Cal Bears. They have so much damage on to Weatherman. Even with the dredge line, Hunter was able to get his 3rd kill of the game and stop the dragon.
Yeah, so tough, especially when Wizardish has double buffs here. Freeze gonna get on him at the mid lane. Should be able to make it out, but
wait, they're back onto it?
Cal Bears? Nuh-uh. Don't be doing this in front of Bethany. You know they want to fight. They do this all the time. Bethany's always down to just fight things out, man. They always want to call bluffs, and I think that's the story of this game right now, Alex, is that whoever starts something up, is that a bluff or is that going to be a place to fight? And are you going to call us out on it? Bethany, they've been doing it better at this point, first game and second game.
Oh, that they had. And, you know, it couldn't be more appropriate that Covey and Mattel are trying to get the spam of which side will the cheese land up or down into Twitch chat, but constantly getting banned by the auto mods. Because, man, this is definitely a flip. I don't even know what's going on here. The thing is, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not stopping. They're continuing this.
And they don't stop coming, Alex.
They don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming. They don't stop coming. They're gonna get the
Mountain Drake for themselves though finally because of the bottom side reset from Wizards and Hollywood, which is, you know, a small little victory in themselves, but you definitely have to pay for it because right now Hunter is first on his clear on the top side with all the refreshes coming in. Rex is gonna be a little bit late on this.
I like that from Wizardish. Nice freeze here, set up in the bot lane to be able to get more gold. And I mean, sure, it's an even bot lane at the moment besides the kills. I'm not talking about the kills. I'm talking about CS. Because you can see that Cutie, Weatherman, you know, it is still Kaisa and Nautilus lane. Even if you got 3 early kills for the Samira to get that much closer to being able to get towards that Immortal Shield bow, it's not an easy lane still. You get one good dredge line, that's probably going to be a kill on to Wizardish, and that is a lot of shutdown gold that would be picked up by Cutie. That's why they have to play it still passively, still wait it out until they can get those mythics completed.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to point out for both these teams is that it's looking very clear that we're probably going to be playing towards that bottom side, knowing that Solera has that Staying Unite and knowing that Eugenium has a heroic entrance. I'm not going to see the Cal Bears maybe tackle Slur unless he's relatively low in these one-on-ones. Unstoppable can definitely do.
Okay, Unstoppable.
Hunter's here.
1v2, looking to get that damage. And keep in mind, there's still that Haymaker punch. And with Weatherman, with Rex, both of them having rotated around, they were spotted out by that board. There's got to, oh my god, there's going to be a part. Okay, Cutie's not here, so isn't going to be a good fight for the side of the Cal Bears. Golden Bears got to wait out. They can't go for this. You are trying to play. But keep in mind,
it's the next weekend, Alex.
Stand United. They got the play on a Weatherman, and they're going to be able to get a 4th kill now. A rampage for Wizardish.
Bethany wanted to party Rift Trail, but unfortunately they didn't invite Cal Bears to the party. It's the next week, and they're not going to be bringing them in on this Rift Trail, so Bethany's still winning it out, even though they made a call for it. But keep in mind that Wizards and Hollywood, they definitely have to pay for something, and they paid for that bottom side, giving Cutie a good amount of farm. Hunter and Wizardish, though, they want to see if they can dive
is level 7, the same level as Unstoppable. That is a lot of damage, and Hunter is going to be gifted a 4th kill, too.
Yeah, real good on them. 4-1-2, 4-0-4. Both these two players, great friends for a long time, and it's just working magic, man. This is a little bit of a different game where Bethany is putting a lot of limelight on Hunter and a Wizards. Good job on them. But so far, if I'm Cal Bears, I got to figure out an answer. This is where Gosu steps up a little bit too far. He got baited. It's like, yo, are we going to this party or what?
Yeah, he thought that it was going to be a fun party, and he got a little bit too drunk there, and he was the friend that got all sharpied up and stuff because he passed out. It wasn't a good time. It was not a good time for Gosu there. And now Cutie trying to be able to hold on to the spot lane, trying to make sure that they at least can have a late game threat, someone who's going to be able to scale up with a nice dredge line coming in from that. But top lane, Wizardish, taking way too much damage. Nice punch in for the shutdown out of Unstoppable.
Wizardish sometimes does these uncharacteristic things. Actually, kind of characteristic things because he does this a lot.
If he does it a lot, that's characteristic.
Yeah, he stays and overextends the lane for just a little bit too much, and he gets punished for it. Regardless, though, Rex and Weatherman.
Nice hook. Gosu, not looking good. Nice double taunt. Yeah. The flash is not enough, and they made sure Rex is the first casualty. Followed that up on to Gosu, so that way, this bot lane, even if it's been a swapped lane, is going great for Bethany.
Yeah, I think we already got Rost online, too, Alex. I think Hunter did actually manage to transform in.
I think so, too.
Usually, we see Kane's transform around the 11-minute mark. This Hunter is a little bit faster on this transformation. Oh, I want to take a look at this.
It's a good cancel back. Oh, nicely done, Unstoppable. Okay, I take any criticism towards Wizards taken back. That was well done by Unstoppable.
Hollywood left my man hanging, dog. So not Hollywood. Hunter left his boy hanging. Hunter legit was like, you know what? It's not going to matter. This is where the bottom side comes in because Hunter gets a reset. So crazy that actually happened. I think that if Hunter stuck around, they would have gotten a kill on top side for himself, but
maybe I think it would have been a 1-for-1 though.
Maybe
you got to respect the fact that Set does do a lot of damage.
He does, yeah.
I think it's more worth with what they got. Sure, you lost the kill and the shutdown onto Wizardish, but then they go bot lane, they get 2 kills. They make sure they're maintaining control of the map consistently all throughout everything. Plus, Wizardish was able to get a free recall, be able to finish that Immortal Shield Bow. You can see even the Gore Drinker for Hunter. They have such a massive lead into these carries that Rex, who wants to be able to fight, can't really contend against Hunter, especially not when it's Frost form. You can see that damage coming in, and the TP is going to be able to scare away Hunter, but that's only scaring him away for a moment.
Oh, they want freeze. They want freeze.
Nice flash for flash. Whip the Stand United. Shockwave onto Eugenium, but the damage onto Rex on the other side. While they lost Eugenium that entire time, Unstoppable in the middle of freeze. Good die here. Double kill coming in from Solora, and now with the next fight coming in for Wizardish to be able to get Cutie, the rest of the team of Cal Bears completely routed, scared away by Hollywood.
Sheesh.
The support is able to get Rex completely out of there so they can get their first dragon of the game.
And Bethany had a lot of isolated 1-on-1s and 1-on-2s and 2-on-2s all throughout that fight. But the big thing that I have to call out is that Cal Bears, it looked like they just felt pressure to make a play with that TP. Unstoppable was like, yo, I'm going to TP to help you. Hunter was like, cool, I'm outie. And then once the TP comes in, it just felt like, oh, we can try and go on freeze. We have to salvage some sort of situation. And then because Eugenian flash, freeze is going to flash right after that. This is where everything happens all the way through. Look at these isolated 1-on-1s, isolated 1-on-2s, 2-on-3s, everything else. And because it's on Bethany's terms, because they're able to answer that little gank that they want to go on freeze, it just works out in the end because each little situation works out because everyone else is just a little bit stronger when we look at them across the board when it comes to golden items.
And the crazy thing, too, is the fact that Wizardish was able to use that Samira ult and not get stopped. So it was a full channel. You talk about, hey, this is a great thing. They have so many tools to be able to stop that. Nope. That one nobody's focusing on to Samira, and now you
Yeah.
can see where that gold is. It is on to the two that we were talking about, Hunter and Wizardish. Nearly
Sheesh,
2,000 gold
man.
lead for each of them.
And not only that, but take a look at the top side. You got a lead on Solura, picking up 2 kills in that fight too. Mid lane, you know, Freeze doing a good job having a 1K gold lead as well. Like, even though we see Hunter and we have Wizards sitting on a lot of gold, they got a solid backup as well. And we look at Cal Bears, same thing that what happens in game 1. They had to figure out a solution. The only difference right now, though, Alex, is that in game 1 they actually had a fighting chance. In this game too, I'm not too sure if they can, because they need a snowball early on with Rex on this Olaf. They need to make some sideline plays, but they didn't get the chance to because of all this early game fighting.
They kind of got baited into Bethany's play style. They thought, hey, you know, we are the ones with the early game composition. We're the ones who want to be fighting. But Bethany seemed to be the kings and the sovereigns of how to fight early on. Those level 3 full-on 5v5 team fights. That's what's nuts to me. Is it's a composition that shouldn't be winning those, yet they did. And with that lead, it doesn't seem like they're going to relent anytime soon, if at all, in this game.
Yeah, man. Maybe that's why they just love playing that fight. It's like, you know what? We're drilling level 3 fights. We're drilling bottom lane TPs. We're drilling scuttle fights no matter what. Teams can't do that, by the way. I've seen teams actually practice over and over and over again. Bethany, of course, just looking like a better team who has done it, and they're down to do it. Usually we see teams back off. Usually we see teams like, you know what? You get this scuttle. I'm going to go down to the next restaurant over, down the block, and get the other scuttle for myself. But Bethany's like, nope.
Not Bethany.
I want both. I want this one and I want the other one.
They channeling that inner Viking, after all.
Yeah.
They are really living up to that moniker, that mascot of theirs, by saying that they are always here to fight. They're always here to plunder. They don't really want to play passively. They don't really care for that game style. It is all about how they're going to be able to snowball out of control, how they're going to be able to make sure that you make statements here in collegiate.
Yeah. They definitely are, man. 14-4 right now. One of the fastest games they had compared to the last one. Solura, though. Look at this freeze of what Unstoppable is doing, man. This feels real bad for Solura. Oh, man.
I mean, it does, but he's a Shen, man. He's a Shen who's 4-1-7.
But he went TM, man. He wants to finish his item real quick. He doesn't have a mythic, man.
Yeah, okay, but he's also got the garage sale build here. Look at this. He's got a TM, he's got a Bomby Center, he's got Bramble Vest. That's his own fault.
He chose that, so he deserves to be frozen on. All right. Okay, I see you.
Yeah, you see?
Yeah.
I'm glad you understand where I'm coming from this.
All right,
right now, I mean, it's something for the Cal Bears to be able to work with.
Sure.
The set matchup into Shen is still going to be favored to set, even if he's not necessarily dominating and winning out in these leads, because it's still set into tanks. He does great into those. But unfortunately for the side of the Golden Bears, that's all they really got. Because look at this. Cutie completely focused away and jumped on by Hunter. Has to be able to burn everything just to be able to stay alive in the bot lane.
And with Bethany also setting themselves up for the mid-outer turret being taken away, because there it is, just goes falls down by the minions and from Freeze. They're able to just get themselves up for this dragon. Unstoppable wants to start a fight because he knows he has that stride breaker for this, but Honestly, wants to take this.
Yeah,
definitely
you gotta make sure that you hold on. He's got a lot of damage waiting for the haymaker punch,
winning this,
but
man.
Solura is winning this one pretty well. Here's the heroic entrance, going to be able to scare away Solura, but it does a lot of damage. The flash coming in to be able to reciprocate a nice face breaker shut down for Unstoppable.
Yeah, Unstoppable doing his best Scorpion cosplay, Alex. Get over here! As he calls out to Solura.
Respect.
Flash being blown, but one thing that is important is that Showstopper, Killer Instinct, and Heroic Entrance are now gone for this Baron. It's going to be coming up right now. I actually don't even think Cal Berkley can actually fight this because those ultimates being off the table.
Yeah, especially since Solura is going to be able to respawn in time.
Look at Cutie, man.
That Sand United. Cutie was already focused away and now has to stay in this one to be able to help out the side of the Golden Bears. It's going to be the Lantern there if they need to be able to get Hunter out. But he's taunted up, shut down by Eugenium with the Dragon up. This could be the Cal Bears being able to get themselves this objective. Of course, you can see that Bethany do not want to relent. They still have that Sand United. They still have the damage. Here's going to be Eugenium right on top of Hollywood. Nice play
let's go!
with Inferno Trigger. They're trying to stop him, but finally he's shut down. Look at the
Freeze now.
They got Solura. They've got Freeze. They have so much damage. Nice coming in with the flash away, trying to stay alive. But wins the floor, take the kill for Eugenium. Solura trying to be able to now fight against the world, but he can't do it. Ace coming in from the Cal Bears.
So many small things helped Cal Bears win at the back end of it, but the biggest mistake that I saw there, Alex, and I know you saw it too, was Hunter stepping up by himself with no backup around him. Of course, Cutie gets knocked out in this early fight, but pay attention to Hunter, man. He's fighting Gosu by himself, but now he's stuck between a Eugenium and Gosu. He's like, you know what? I think I'm okay. I have the ultimate, I have Gore Drinker, I should be good. But he gets torn up, he gets bounce house. He's in a castle right now, and he goes back to the base. This is where we take a look at the aftermath of that, and really questionable things for Bethany to just stay around to think that they can steal. But look at Eugenium, he jumps right in, gets a ton on a Hollywood. Wizards goes in with the Stay United, which is a really good play if you're trying to take this fight, but too much damage, too much CC, and this is where we talk about Samira not being able to be online because there's too much CC on the table. And then Eugenium gets a solid look on a freeze that right there with that Justice Punch. So good.
Well, see, it's also that Freeze had used Shockwave at the very beginning of that, trying to focus away Cutie. Well, when it's necessary, when you need it for that team fight, it's no longer up. You still have to wait for that massive cooldown.
Back off,
that alone could have helped turn it around. Now you've given so much gold over to the Golden Bears that even with Hunter trying to get this engage, look again, Umbral Trespass onto the tank. He's taking a lot of damage coming in. They're going to be able to get
Wizardish! I've never seen a pentacle happen like that, Alex. It literally was a Thanos snap from Wizardish. I thought they were going to be caught out of left field, knowing that Wizards was getting bounce castle, but he is able to get to the S instantly, and right off that, he's going to give him that Baron. Holy cow, I need to see a replay of that, man. Woo! That legit just happened.
Let's watch this. Let's
I need to see a slow-mo.
Yeah, we got to get
I need to see the slow-mo, man.
on this one.
All right.
Let's watch Wizardish this entire time.
He's knocked up, gets stunned up, gets face breakered, get the shield.
God,
he doesn't go down. He goes in.
Oh,
it just gets an instant S.
God.
Instant Inferno trigger. What the heck?
There's so much used
he just hits it
at the beginning that he's like, oh, cool. There is no CC left. You've used everything. I'm still alive. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, he was sitting on 3, and then he gets an instant 3 off of the E and then off of the W. But EQ, actually. Yeah. So he just gets his stacks just like that. It's a good thing that he actually managed to set up 3. That's like a really important thing that I got to shout out. I know you guys are seeing the stream right now. It's a little bit kind of blurry as we get it fixed up. But, like, Wizards, it's so key that Wizards actually was sitting on 3 stacks right there.
It's pretty much what made it so that you can immediately use that Infernal trigger to then pop everyone on the Cal Bears. Whew! That is one of those rare moments. You don't get to see that too often. Usually a pentakill in competitive, it's something that is more tempered, it's laid back. You know, it happens over the course of time. That was instantaneous. Legit.
Now Cal Bears, I'm like, oh man. What are we gonna do against Samir, guys? Real dangerous. I don't know. I'm definitely scared now about we're just getting a dang pentakill. I think is that our first pentakill of top 32? I actually gotta wonder.
I don't know if it's of our top 32, but it was definitely one of our most stylish. I'll give that.
Got that S style from Wizardish right now. On the next table, though, is going to be this Dragon. It's going to be the second one for Bethany Esports if they want to take it. Third for the Cal Bears. But because of this gold lead that Bethany has already had, AK ahead, they're going to be looking to push this for themselves as we see Hollywood and everyone else pushing this bottom quadrant, which is something that I like to see. Setting up that vision, making sure that Cal Bears, if they want to contest, they have to work for it. And overall, it's a good thing.
All right now, Bethany, full control. Got a 10 to Samira after that nice clean pentakill happened instantaneously. You've got all this gold poured into your carries where you can pressure all these turrets all at once, and there's very little that the Golden Bears are going to be able to do at this point because last fight we saw what happens when they try to focus Wizardish. They're trying again to see if they can jump on top of Wizardish. They need to be able to get the kill, but with the Stand United finally bounced around, Shockwave coming
Wizards down.
They're going to be able to get Wizardish, trying to see if they can get the rest of the fight, but Solaris still alive on the other side. Look at Hunter, double knockup, trying to see if they can get the kill on it to go to. They got a double kill coming in from Freeze with a lot of damage, just as much misses from Eugenium.
Oh no!
And Freeze is still alive, there it is. 4 more are dead on the side of the Cal Bears with the flash coming in. It's an ace for Bethany.
My God, Cal Bears threw everything to see if they can take down Wizards, and they finally do. But then after that, they were like, what do we do next? Who do we want to focus on? There's so many targets from Bethany that they had to go for, and we take a look at the help buzzer Slura and take a look at the help buzzer Freeze. Eugenium was throwing everything to see if he can knock down Freeze, and unfortunately nothing landed because everything whiffed, man. Bethany Esports, they played a dangerous game, and they're definitely making it work right now. But for Cal Bears, I think that may have just been the straw of this game, Alex, where at this point they're down 10K. They can't. I feel like they can't have a way of coming back at this point because they dedicated everything for Wizards right here.
They did it, and when you kill Wizardish, that's great. But look how long
boom,
it
4-man
takes them
shockwave
to kill Wizardish, and like you said, the 4-man shockwave.
Yeah, and imagine if Weatherman actually landed the hook on a freeze there too. That could have potentially secured the kill because it would have allowed Eugenium to step up. But look at this, man. Credits to Eugenium because he was trying to land that Winds of War on a freeze to get that kill, but definitely just some mistakes here. Cutie, of course, just going to get caught out by Hunter, and Hunter, of course, staying alive because he is Rost. So, good stuff on them.
It was a great fight coming in from the side of Bethany to be able to capitalize that again. So much had been used on a Wizardish. They had tried to see if they can kill a Samira, and well, it worked. It's the Thanos meme. It's like, you killed Wizardish. At what cost? Everything.
You gotta pay your price, man, if you want to make sure you can blip him back to reality. But they have their sights on a freeze. He's by himself. He has no idea. Oh,
should
spot
be
one.
a pretty easy kill here. Got the taunt. Here's the killer instinct. Shockwave on him too, but it's a shutdown picked up by Eugenium. And with that kill, that might mean that they can at least try to put a little bit more control around this bear. And unfortunately, it's still 1 minute and 40 until it spawns.
Yeah. It's also 2 ultimates being gone too, Alex. Cutie and Gosu did blow those ultimates just to secure that kill with Eugenium. And Bethany recognizing that, we just have to give up some space, no big deal. Freeze only blowing Shockwave. Not really going to cost a lot, but Cal Bears finally having some sort of pressure on the map. Finally also getting their first turret in the game too if they actually manage to get this mid-tier 1.
It's still so healthy, though. That's the biggest problem. And now Cutie is really far spread away from the rest of the team. And I'm surprised we didn't see the flash pull coming in from Hollywood. But instead, they're trying to get the fight on a Hunter. He was able to use the Umbral Trespass to be able to dodge away. And now they've jumped onto the back line.
Cutie, Wizardish.
An Inferno Trigger, trying to see if they can rip apart. Another double kill comes in from Wizardish. They want to be able to chase down Eugenium, but they want to be able to chase down Wrecked. Make sure they're split apart. But Unstoppable's back gets canceled by Solora. While 2 members of the Cal Bears trying to be able to retreat. All the while, the tank matchup is not going so well for Cal Bears. You can even see this time around, Unstoppable does not win against Shen. It is instead the other way around with Bethany going right inside the base of the Cal Bears, looking to end this 2-0.
Man, those ultimates, I said, Alex, were so crucial to have. But because you don't have depth charge, because you're not Killer Instinct, you don't have the tools to hold yourself against Wizardish at this point. No. And this is where Bethany Esports, they're knocking on that Nexus door. Everyone's coming off the respawn, though. I think Bethany should be looking to back off, but Freeze has that Shockwave. If they overstep a little bit too much, Freeze can actually close out this game by himself.
Still some time until Unstoppable and Rex both spawn.
Shockwave!
The Shockwave! And
that's what I was talking about!
Even with Eugenium up alive, there is going to be a good block of the Justice Punch and a kill coming in from Wizardish. He's on a rampage. Hell, if we're going to get our 3-game series because Bethany are here to play. They're here to win. They want that 2-0. They're showing us that game 1 was a fluke. They've got everything that they need now with Cal Bears trying desperately to find one final fight, but a double knockup from Hunter again with a great pull to make sure they get yet another ace over the Cal Bears. Bethany 2-0 in this final of the round of 32. We got to see them look immaculate, especially Wizardish. He got himself a penta, and they get the victory.
What I say, Alex? What I say about Freeze getting the Shockwave on the back end if Cal Bears step up? They end the game. And Freeze definitely did that, man. Congratulations to Bethany Esports getting the victory and a pretty solid 2-0 here. Some mistakes in Game 1, but they kind of shored up in Game 2.
They did.
Definitely opted for a little bit more fights compared to other teams that we've seen so far, but I think they should be happy with this 2-0, advancing themselves to the top 16. Whereas for Cal Bears, y'all definitely played a good game. I'm not going to lie. Y'all made some solid drafts. Y'all also had a really solid game plan. Unfortunately, that player difference, man, that player skill just kind of came in.
See, I don't even know if it's
worked
a player
out.
difference, man. I think what it was that they played into Bethany's hands in both game 1 and 2.
That too.
They played for the level 3 fight that Bethany like, bring it, we dare you. This is our kingdom. This is our playground.
That's the two weirdest games where you have 2 fights happen around that 4-minute mark, either off of Scuttle or just off of the gank, man. I've never seen I've never seen two teams down a clown, down a head to a house party together to just join in and see who can actually win when it comes to that kind of battle. So, congratulations to Bethany, man. They could definitely take it. But if I'm everyone else who's watching Bethany, be mindful of that draft. Hunter likes to save that pick for himself, and then when it comes to that early game, Bethany's down to fight. It don't matter if it's lane or if it's for Scuttle. They're down to call resources to make sure they get something for Hunter. That's always going to be the game plan for Bethany. So we have to see if they can adapt.
Well, with that, Bethany are going to be able to get that 2-0 victory over the Golden Bears. It was definitely one of our closer series that we got to watch here on the stream, even if it was a 2-0. Congratulations over to Bethany. We're going to hand it back over to the Collegiate Cubby Company over on the desk. So, take it away.
Joined by Ryan Wizardish Vreeland, the AD carry for Bethany Esports. You guys saw him popping off on the Samira in game 2, but both games popping off as Wizardish. Want to start right off immediately. You guys come in. I just saw your coach throw up a tweet. You guys didn't scrim on 11.9. Your top laner had a flu. Hunter had a sprained wrist. And all that's, it's not stopping you from getting to the round of 16. How does it feel to advance to that round?
Feels great. I think the boys really earned this one, and everyone's really happy that we've been able to make it this far. So it's a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, kind of bouncing off that Game 2 performance, how excited does that get you in the moment when you're able to just kind of dominate the team fight? The game was looking a little bit close at that point. You guys had the lead, but, Berkeley had just come back in that last team fight. So how are you feeling as a player?
Honestly, I'm just kind of pressing buttons. That champion that is a joke of a design for a champion. So when the pentakill happened, I didn't even realize it. I kind of just rolled my face over the keyboard and hoped for the best, and it worked out. So yeah, I don't know. It's really, it's Hunter and Freeze who are holding down the fort and really putting in the most effort. I'm just kind of there to, press buttons.
Well, Wizardish, unfortunately for you, you actually have a replay of you pressing buttons at the peak moment of Game 2. And just walk us through, I know that you said rolling face over the keyboard, whether that was your perspective or like actually looking at the game. What were your thoughts going into this fight and how you played this one out?
So obviously you want to get like some stacks before you kind of jump in. So I have a few passive stacks. Threw the wind wall out, didn't get anything. I think I'm just dead at this point. Like I really thought I was just dead. So this is when I literally just like spammed all the buttons on my keyboard. And I guess I got my ult off just in time to get that kill.
Oh man, that lifeline passive there on your Immortal Shield Blow, I'd say coming up pretty big as you guys were able to take that fight, take the win. I know that moving on in the bracket, going to the round of 16 as we see Hunter in the background and all your teammates. You guys definitely came into this tournament as pitching as having the most fun as a team. What's it like having these guys behind you?
Oh, it's awesome. I think, if you watch the interview, you will have heard it, but we're an awesome culture here, great group of guys, and we all love each other and we're just looking out for each other at all times. So it's really just, at the end of the day, I'm happy that I was able to win for my teammates more than myself.
Yeah, so kind of wrapping up the interview, looking towards next week. You guys face UWO, I believe, in the bracket.
Mm-hmm.
How's that looking in terms of what preparation levels you guys are going to put in? Feels like they're one of the favorites to win. What are your thoughts going into next week's match?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. We've scrimmed them in the past, and they're a really solid team. So we're just going to be putting in some games and really putting forth our best effort. And I think it'll be a good match.
Yeah, what is it with the North Conference bringing all these strong teams? As I will say, the North undefeated this week, the invitees undefeated as well, and your squad undefeated today as you take the 2-0 victory. Any last shout-outs, any parting thoughts that you want to lend us before you leave and head to hang out with your team and possibly get some McDonald's too?
Of course. Yeah, I just want to shout out my mom first and foremost. She's my best friend in the whole world. Shout out to everyone here at Bethany, the coach, the staff, professors, everyone at Bethany. Shout out to Bradley. I think he's a great friend I've made here at Bethany, and he's really the one kind of carrying us forward in collegiate. Mordhow.com. Shout out to Mordhow.com. I got to get that in. That's all, hop on that game if you want to play with me. shoot me a DM. Shout out to Riot, shout out to you guys for casting, and overall, thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, and shout out, of course, as we wrap this one up. Wizards are going to be saying goodbye to you, but we will see you next week participating in the round of 16 going up against UWO. Best of luck in that series, and we'll see you guys there. Put your best foot forward once again, and congrats on your win today.
Thank you.
All right, huge shout outs to our producers for getting Wizardish in as we welcome Yudi back to the desk and everyone else back as we wrap up that last series and wrap up the day of games. And Yudi, I know that you were taking a seat for Wizardish and all of his teammates to parade in the background real quick, but I mean, being a team manager, do you want to manage that team? They seem like a pretty rambunctious crowd, but also one that has a lot of fun. And what's it kind of like seeing those players interact with each other behind the scenes and all the obviously the bond they've been able to form throughout this collegiate season?
I think watching as all of Wizardish's teammates came in or friends, I guess, it would really warmed my heart. I'm so like happy for them. I think that I'm having trouble using English right now, but I think it's so cool to watch these teammates be so happy together. And I think even if they are a little bit crazy sometimes or maybe very energetic, it is such a great thing, I think, to be involved with a team. It's not just like, let's go sit down at our desks and play League. They're excited. They love playing this game. And I think that's so crucial to being part of an esports program.
Well, great to hear that from someone who going out of her way to work in collegiate as well. And always fun to see teams having a good time in the background. I love that parade they had. I was expecting like a pie to the face, like maybe like they're going to mess them a little bit more like they do, like in baseball interviews, football interviews, all that good stuff. Maybe they're saving that for the next rounds if they get the winners interview past that. But just going to have to see as Dylan, I know we have to get into the game and start breaking things down exactly how Bethany was able to take that 2-0, and they graced us game 1 with a burger flip at the first crab. They graced us game 2 with a burger flip at the first crab, and guess what? For Bethany, both those flips, they landed cheese side up as they got the best of Berkeley very early in the game.
Yeah, it really feels like Bethany. I don't know if it's just because they're confident in this series specifically, but they were really willing to just take it straight to the Cal Bears. I mean, we see Hunter path down, skip a camp to make sure that he's here on this gank timer, and I think that's really smart because if you're already on the bottom side, you cannot contest Olaf at that crab. That crab is gone unless you gank bottom first and kind of force a play to happen. This mid interaction is so funny how they just end up teleporting next to each other, Freeze realizing, oh god, I can't cancel his TP, I gotta get down there too. And, I mean, Bethany just realizing that their champions, are pretty favored in this skirmish. It's risky taking it against Olaf, Kais, and Nautilus, but when you play it as well as they do, like you said, it landed cheese side up, and Bethany with a huge lead going into the, the later stages of this early game.
And they were definitely able to snowball that through. But hey, Berkeley, they did show some resistance later into the game. We'll get to those replays, but I know the next one, Yudi, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit for this one, is we are going to get this replay rolling as soon as possible for you once it gets up on the screen. We'd love to know your thoughts as we had a heck of a mid-fight coming out around that second dragon being spawned, and it's rather surprised to see Bethany go for this. But that said, once again, they end up coming out on top and taking the best of Berkeley, a common trend that we saw in these early game fights throughout the series.
Yeah, I definitely think that there were times where I was worried that maybe Bethany would lose their lead or something would happen. But going into this clip, I think I watched Hunter and I was pretty confident that, he could get something done, but we see the teleport come in here and now Freeze is kind of the target. So it really was a lot to watch, I think, especially for me as the viewer, just watching all of this happen on the screen.
It's hectic. There's a reason that we're on the desk and not actually in the games, right?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like as a player in this, you got to wonder what the comms are. That's something that would be amazing to see is, in these hectic scenarios, in these fights where everything's all over the place. I mean, who's calling the shots? Because it's impossible to watch everything that's happening. You simply just don't have enough room on your screen for it. So I'd love to see, Bethany's communication. Judging by how, goofy they were post-game, I bet they're a little bit more lighthearted in terms of the comm side. I'm sure they take things seriously, but I guarantee that the players are joking around and having fun.
Yeah, and that's something for sure that, as you hit on earlier in the cast uni, something that really helps teams throughout the entire season. The fact that when things are lighthearted and you're able to, take the losses in stride, make sure that you're still having fun, learning and improving as a team, and just having that mental state and the confidence to keep moving forward. Something that's so valuable, as something that Bethany definitely had to deal with in this series, as well as there were some kills that went to the side of UC Berkeley, and they definitely at least showed some resistance. We pitched this as the closest series on the day, and Dylan, I know that in this fight we're going to have our last replay. Definitely want to pay respects to Berkeley, the performance they were able to show off in today's game despite the loss, and some of the highlights that we had for their team. I know that you as a jungler were rather impressed with their jungler's play, especially in game 1. Not the best game 2 in comparison, as Hunter was able to really get the best of him. But hey, Berkeley, they showed up on the day and at least gave Bethany a bit of a run for their money, especially in that game 1 and in this team fight.
Yeah, it felt like if they played a little bit more coordinated, and, we had some gripes with their team composition. Their only AP was Galio, who's not really a huge AP threat, and also doesn't synergize super well with the team. But, I mean, that aside, it felt like Berkeley, they put up a good fight in this series. Unfortunately, all the games that we've seen on the Academy channel so far have just been 2-0s, but this was the closest one by far that I remember. If it wasn't Wizardish getting that insane pentakill in the bottom side jungle, there's a good shot that Berkeley actually could pull off the win in this game. Like the Golden Bears were actually doing super well. They pulled together a lot of these mid-game fights, a little bit of a comeback. The gold was getting pretty close, but I mean, as we saw in that pentakill replay during the interview, it just wasn't enough. Bethany is a huge team fight, and they actually pull out the win.
Yeah, that pentakill. We're going to save that one, the best for last. But hey, if we have a shot to have Wizardish on the desk, it's best to get his reaction to that as a crazy Samira fight. I'm sure that we had a Reddit clip yesterday with the Wombo combo from UWO. Now we got the Reddit clip from Bethany and Wizardish, as those two teams are actually set to meet next week in the round of 16. And hey, to cap things off, we had a full day of games on our stream. I know that a lot of results came in. So many teams are moving forward. A lot of teams are moving home, as that is how a single limb 32-team bracket works. And I kind of want to start off, once we kind of get a look at what our schedule looked like on the Academy stream, with you, Uni, and your reactions to, were there any surprises for you today? Did you think any series might be close? Was there any upset potentials, or what are your highlights on the day?
I honestly, seeing the results, at least for Western, having spoken with them earlier in the week just to see where they were at, I'm really not surprised here, and also just to see U of T come out on top. Really, I did expect the 2-0s, I'm going to say that, and this is not an ego, I promise. But for Bethany, I was definitely a little bit unsure. They were coming back after being voted back in, and not exactly having the best performance against UIUC when they were eliminated. So this was definitely something where I was expecting more of a 3-game series. But yeah, Bethany comes out on top and really just shatters what I thought was going to happen today. So
yeah, like you said, I mean, it's just proof that the voting system is working, because all 4 teams that were voted in managed to make it to the top 16. I guarantee that, at least 1 or 2 is probably going to make it to the top 8 as well. So I would love to see that these teams advance further in the tournament. Like you said, though, pretty expected results today, except maybe you could argue that this series could have been closer. But good to see that the teams that deserve to move on have been moving on.
Yeah, that's why we play the games, right? You got to make sure that you win those games and deserve to move on, as we actually are going to take a peek at the full bracket. I know that we showed it off for the first time in the last game, and we have almost all the teams set in stone for this upcoming week. We will be back Saturday and Sunday of next weekend to cover all the action here, as Bethany sets their place going up against University of Western Ontario. I know that I think a lot of people have their eyes on Maryville as well, one of the top seeds that we have in this tournament, and obviously the 2-time champions of this tournament as well. But on my eyes, Dylan, I don't know about you, but ASU versus CC, that match has a lot of potential to be a heck of a game. A heck of a series.
I honestly think at least 3 of the 4 series in this top part of the bracket are going to be really, really good. The Purdue versus U of T is going to be something to keep your eyes on. UWO versus Bethany. I mean, we didn't see UWO play very clean today, and Bethany's a team that's a bit of a wild card. Honestly, really, really solid series in the top half of the bracket.
As we hit the bot side of the bracket, you might have noticed, I think over half the teams, if there weren't partner conferences, would have come from the north. Must say, a little bit of pride is doing from the north there. But Uni, you're from the south region. You've got a friend there in Winthrop already sitting in the round of 16, waiting to see who they face. Any other things jump out on the page at you? Anything, any highlights?
Definitely gotta say I'm happy to see UIUC in there. It's not really a hometown school for me, but it is somewhere that I used to go a lot when I visited family. So also seeing Harrisburg there, that's kind of a classic name to see in a lot of collegiate esports. So interested to see how they fare in terms of League of Legends. But yeah, Throp's out for Winthrop. UCF did get pummeled by Winthrop in the first game we had of playoffs in the South, and really we did see how strong Winthrop is. So it's really a stacked bracket. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, the 16 teams left. Also, my eyes go over to Grand Mason University, the one team that pulled off the upset against Northeastern, a team that we're very familiar with, Dylan, coming from our conference as well. But final thoughts before we throw it over. You saw the 1-1. That series is still going on over at twitch.tv/Upsurge Esports. We're going to be hosting it here. We encourage you to go check that out as we wrap things up on our side. But Dylan, any final thoughts on the day? Any parting remarks you want to leave the viewers?
You know, I want to reiterate a point that we've been talking about over the last 2 days, which is every team in this top 32 is unique in their own way, and they all deserve to be here no matter, how they performed in this top 32. And sure, we saw a lot of 2-0s, as a matter of fact, all 2-0s on this stream. But that's not to say that these players or these, programs, they don't deserve to be here. So they should be celebrated. They should be, they're all special in their own way, and it was a lot of fun to see these teams learn more about their players and their program. That's my favorite part of the week, to be honest. The League of Legends, that kind of comes second to the players and their narrative, so it was fun for me.
Yeah, and Uni, our special guest on the stream from the EG branch and the Genius League over there. Do you have any parting thoughts for us as well?
I'm just really happy to be here. I think celebrating League of Legends, celebrating collegiate, it's very cool to see different, like Dylan was talking about, just like a sampling platter of the different collegiate programs out there. You have student-run programs, you have varsity programs, different regions in the country. We really get to see a variety of a lot of different things, and I think that looking forward, it's only going to get better, right? We're going to get more and more institutions involved, so definitely really enjoyable and happy to be here. It's been such a great time.
Well, it's been great to have you on the desk, both of you, in fact, as it has been a joy this weekend. We're going to have to wait to have that action for the next weekend, as we will be bringing you the round of 16 here, same time, same place, this upcoming Saturday. But for today's broadcast, we are going to be jumping over to twitch.tv/Upsurge Esports, see the conclusion of that best three, and who is going to meet Winthrop in that round of 16. But for us, me, Matt Cubby Samuelson, Dylan Kleinven, Uni as well on the desk, and then also everyone on the back end. Huge shout outs to Nick on graphics, Manx Azen and Harryism taking care of the ops and replays for us, and our lead producer Tony as well. With the wonderful casters, we had Mad Magical, Chilling Walk bringing you the last two matches, Mazel, Rebel Fox early in the day. It's been a pleasure to bring you round of 32 for the Collegiate League of Legends Championships presented by State Farm. We will be back next week on Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern, to get things started off for the round of 16. Really excited for that. Until then, let's send it over to twitch.tv/Upsurge Esports and see how that best of three is shaping out. Thanks so much for tuning in. See you next weekend.